I think we have time for one more question. Go ahead.
With comic books coming more into mainstream, do you think about when you're creating your art or your stories about your female readers or only male readers?
Matt and I just had a big argument about this
we just had a
recently.
big fight about this.
Sell me on this question because it'll make me buy your work more.
Yes, I think about it a lot. No, I would say my first two books, I hadn't really thought of it. I had a female character in there who I wanted to be sort of this femme fatale, but likable, because I'm a big fan of film noir, but I didn't. We talked about this already, so I feel like I'm setting you up.
No,
But,
I'm staying out of this.
yeah, so I wanted to have this woman who's like the femme fatale, but unlike every film noir ever, she's not the bad guy at the end. You sort of feel compassion for her. So that was the earliest inkling. But then by the time I was done with the Pistolwood books, I realized my wife was not reading any of the books I was making. And I'm like, that's weird. But so then my next two sisters, the next book, I wrote with female readers of mine, specifically my wife, but just in general, you go to enough shows and you watch all these guys walk by with their wives who are bored to tears because there's nothing there for them to read anymore. I was a lot more conscious of it then, and it influences everything. It influences my design and my characters and who they are and what they do.
I'm also very conscious of it, but I'll be honest. I'm disappointed that I haven't done anything that I work on boys comics. Crime and monsters and that sort of thing, and shoot 'em ups, and I love them. But at the same time, I would like to do something that's geared towards a different type of audience. That's how we got into the argument, because I was explaining how I want to do something like that, and then Matt.
Don't start the argument. I'll do a rebuttal.
I'll say that I had a meltdown about it maybe a few weeks back, and on this current book that I'm working on, I emailed these guys and another writer, and I said, I just realized there are no strong female characters in this book. I'm having I have a real problem with this. I feel like I was in a panic. I thought I was going to have to go back and scrap the entire series and rewrite it. Because I felt like I didn't have a strong female character. And I said, well, I've got a female character in this book, but she's this stripper, and I don't want a stripper with a heart of gold. And I was like, this book is crap, it's horrible. And I can't remember what one of the writers said. He said, your book's about a werewolf, so it said, if you can believe in a werewolf, you can believe in a stripper with a heart of gold. But I did finally, it just took me a lot of, I really had to work at it until I realized where the strong female character was. And I'd already introduced that character in the book, and earlier in the series, and I just had to really go back and rethink it, how I was going to introduce her back into the series in a much bigger way. And I think the book's stronger for it.
And nobody wants to hear this, but there are, unfortunately, there's market considerations. The comic book market is, there's a lot of men in the market. If a publisher's going to publish something, it's hard to say, I've got this comic with this female lead, and they're afraid it's not going to sell. They're afraid it's not going to work. But the conversation started. I was telling. I
would say that there's no market because there's no books.
I agree. Well, I agree, but I'm talking about trying to convince a publisher. The publisher is putting out the money. Because honestly, I want to do it like a Jane Austen comic book. I love Jane Austen, and I think it'd be great. You wouldn't know that from reading The Dams, but that's the kind of book I'd like to see. And I do think there's a market for it. I think you build it, they will come. So.
All right, well, a couple brief announcements before we wrap up. One, I want to say that if you have enjoyed hearing what they have to say, you're going to enjoy their comics even more, and they're going to be selling those comics in the lobby directly after this, so you can talk with them a little bit more, ask them more pointed questions.
You don't need to buy a comic to go up there and talk with us at the table.
Yeah, but you guys, I'm sure, would like to sell some stuff. Also, I'll mention that in the fall, I'm teaching British Literature 1, Tuesday, Thursdays, 12:15 to 1:30, if you're interested. And we got Pete, who is going to, should I say Peter? I'm sorry. All right. I'll let you, he's got an announcement for us.
Yeah. Hi, I'm Peter Coogan. I'm the director of the Institute for Comic Studies. It's a nonprofit located in St. Louis to promote the study, understanding, and appreciation of comics. I teach at WashU, and I teach at Webster. I actually teach a class on superheroes at Webster. If anybody's transferring to the St. Louis area, I'm going to teach a history of American comics class in the fall, and in the spring, my superhero class, and an introduction to comics theory class, and maybe a superhero class at WashU, or a survey of comics class at WashU. I put on conferences at the San Diego Comic-Con and WonderCon. We have the Comics Arts Conference, which brings scholars and professionals together to talk about comics in front of the public. Last year at the Metropolitan Museum of Art, I put on a conference about superhero costumes. And probably in the fall with the St. Louis Public Library, we're going to do an event, mixed comics scholars and comics artists event. There's a little organization I'm putting together called the St. Louis Area Comics Friendly Faculty, or SLACK-OFF, organization of academics like ourselves who study comics. And so there's the professional side, but there's also the scholarly or academic side. And there are comics friendly faculty at almost every school in St. Louis. I'm currently putting together a list of them, and like I said, we're going to have this little organization. So, if that's something you're interested in from the scholarly side, from the academic side, from taking classes, especially if you're transferring, it's something you can look into at www.instituteforcomicstudies.org. You can go there, you can contact me, comicstudies@gmail. If you have any interest in those things, if you want to present a paper somewhere, if you're looking for a conference. Wizard World University, we run it at Chicago and Philadelphia, where we have actual paper presentations at Comic-Cons. And we do accept undergraduate presentations, same thing with the Comics Arts Conference. And I'm always putting together other conferences and little things around in different places. So a lot of stuff is possible that you may not have been aware of. There you go.
And if you're interested in any of that, he'll be in the lobby too, so you can chat with any of us. Thank you all very much for coming, and have a lovely afternoon. Thank you guys.